I am moving to Paris for the summer. To prepare, I created an absinthe cocktail, baked Madeleines, and watched Sabrina.
Maybe you should go to Paris.
Living in Paris for at least a year, maybe 2, has been a long-held dream of mine. And maybe someday that will be my reality. But if 6 full weeks is all I can get, then I'll take it with big, grateful, open arms.
But throwing open the windows and letting in la viande.
In anticipation of my Parisian adventure, I decided to celebrate with a twist on the Green Fairy herself and make an absinthe-based cocktail I dubbed Fairy Tale. Growing up, whenever I thought of myself in the idealized Paris of my imagination, I pictured living in a charmingly bohemian Paris garret, writing poetry and sipping absinthe. This, even though I had never been to Paris, wrote admittedly bad purple prose and had no idea what absinthe even tasted like. In my mind, I would be transported to 1800 Paris and live as a starving but very talented artist. Through books and movies like Moulin Rouge, absinthe was a drink of choice for creative bohemians and inextricably linked with the City of Light. Because of its green color, absinthe was nicknamed La Fée Verte, or the Green Fairy. The fact that it was banned because it contained wormwood, which gave absinthe its green color and apparently drove people temporarily insane, made absinthe even more seductive to my young mind. Many years later, the ban was reconsidered. Wormwood, it turns out, didn't actually make people crazy. Absinthe was again legal. A friend of mine gifted me a rather generously sized bottle from a local distillery. I poured myself a glass and with great excitement took my first sip. Oh, I hated it. It tasted like licorice or anise, and I hated licorice. My Paris daydream shifted. No absinthe for me. For the longest time, my big bottle of absinthe sat collecting dust. Until one day, lightning struck. Why not mix it in a cocktail? I started experimenting, and to my surprise, absinthe, when mixed with other flavors, was delightful. Moving to Paris for 6 weeks was assuredly a bucket list item, not the least of which was that it is a classic culinary destination. French bread, croissants, macarons, and other pastries, champagne. But there was just one problem. I had been on a low-carb or keto-ish diet for almost 8 months and was feeling great. Carbohydrate intolerance. What can I say? Not fun. I say keto-ish because I was avoiding carbs for the most part, cutting out sugary foods, pasta, potatoes, and yes, bread. But making exceptions for the occasional cocktail with friends and fiercely hanging on to my chocolate. So the dilemma that faced me: do I fully enjoy all of Paris's charms, including its glorious, incomparable baguettes and croissants, and ditch the keto? Or strictly abstain? I came upon a compromise. I would treat myself once a week to French bread and a pain au chocolat, as long as I kept up a running schedule, which allowed and necessitated carbs, and order keto dishes at restaurants. Then I set an additional challenge for myself: adapting and cooking as many classic French dishes to keto. I was going to have my cake and eat it too. In researching the origins of the ubiquitous French spongy cookies, curiously called Madeleines, I came upon a couple tales. One saucy version is that a comely Madeleine sold her little cakes in the gardens of the Palais Royal, enticing buyers with a sing-song pitch of Here comes pretty Madeleine selling her nice hotcakes. Another story, told by none other than Proust, was not as spicy but explains the Madeleine's shell-like shape. These little cookies were invented in the Middle Ages in the region of Loire, France, traversed by pilgrims heading to Santiago de Compostela in Spain. The pilgrims, who were devotees of St. James, wore shells in tribute to their patron saint. And so the Madeleine's distinctive form was born.
Dearest Father, we shall be graduating next week and I shall be getting my diploma. I want to thank you now for the 2 most wonderful years of my life. I shall always love you for sending me here.
This scene from Sabrina in particular perfectly speaks to the young woman I had been who dreamt of going to Paris and being transformed. I knew that this time, above all others, would change me. I just didn't know how much and in what way.
It is late at night, and someone across the way is playing La Vie en Rose. It is the French way of saying, I am looking at the world through rose-colored glasses, and it says everything I feel. I have learned so many things, Father. Not just how to make vichyssoise or calf's head with sauce vinaigrette, but a much more important recipe. I have learned how to live, how to be in the world and of the world, and not just to stand aside and watch. And I will never, never again run away from life, or from love either.
I'm moving to Paris because Paris is my first and my forever love. If any city has enchanted me, it would be this one. And although I've traveled to many countries in my life, Paris is the only place that has drawn me back time and time and time again. I'm moving to Paris because, if not now, then when? I'm moving because Paris is always a good idea. I am the Wandersome Woman. I invite you to join me in my everyday life in Paris, where I explore the city's hidden gems and cook culinary French classics the Keto way.